All right, this is Eric from Testament, and welcome to my episode of Riff Lords. Today we're going to be going over a lot of Testament riffs from the catalog, over 30 years, and yeah, I hope you enjoy, and we'll get down right to it. Okay, so this is Over the Wall, and I'm going to play you the main beginning riff, and it's also throughout the song, and the main verse riff, and then we'll take a look at it and slow it down. All right, let's try that slow down a little bit. So this beginning starts with pedaling off the E and onto the fifth string, single notes. So kind of like pull-offs. So you're going from, like 8 to 7 to 5, then 5 to 3 to 2. So you're going 5, 7, 8. Then it goes down the scale, like. The next one is like speed on a bar chord. Instead of going, you also want to mute it a little bit. So it's like, also I think of my right hand as like the drums. So almost like a drum roll, like ba digga digga da digga digga da digga digga da digga 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 dan dan. So it's like, if I didn't mute it, it would be like, which wouldn't be bad, it'd be kind of punk, But when you mute it, it gets more precise. And then the big hits. The next thing I'm doing after I'm doing the pull off on the single strings is I'm doing this chromatic type of riff with a bar chord. So it's like a drum roll muted in a chromatic sense. So it's like. And then the next part of it is, I guess, would be more the melodic part. So it's really hard to describe because a lot of Testament stuff, there's two guitars and they're not doing the same thing. So like one guitar is going. So while that's going on, this is going on. So it makes it more melodic, because there's like an undertone, like It's changing pitches, keys, whatever. When I'm doing the harmonic pinches, like on the kind of shaking it a little bit. And given the speed that it's at, you can only do it one way. You can't go. So it's like, just shake it in like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I mean, you could go. I think there's a little bit more personality to. Stuff like that, which is really cool. So many bands do this, this galloping. It's kind of like the standard. I mean, just like a thrash beat. So the chugging part, what I was talking about, this is something we do, and we've been doing it since the first record, and we're doing it on the new record. And the picking is on E, but you're using other chords to give like a a certain sound, a formula. So. So, that's not it, but I'm just showing you that you can do it. I just did that on the spot. On Over the Wall in particular, it's. So in the verse, what I'm doing is I'm doing the chugging thing on open E. Then I'm doing these half-step movements. All right, so now that I've broken it down a little bit, I'm going to do it one more time in the order that I did before, but you can check it out what I'm doing here. So after the Legacy was done, we just had toured all of the States, like 42 shows. And then we did Europe. I think we did like 28 shows with Anthrax, and they were on Among the Living, and they were getting pretty big at the time. And that was pretty awesome. So we came right back and we wrote the New Order record. This is probably one of the favorites live. I mean, all the songs on the New Orders are great. The title track's great. This song in particular works really well. It's different key changes. It starts off in C sharp, and it's got a really cool anthem-y kind of notey thing that the crowd sings along to. And then it goes back to the chugging thing, which I was talking about in Over the Wall that we do on the verse. So here it is, the intro and the verse, and this is called The Preacher. All right, here it is, slowed down. All right, so let's break down the beginning of this. So what we're doing is we're doing some bar chords. We're starting on F sharp, the octave higher. It's a C sharp, and then we're going B to C sharp to D to E. And we're doing this pull off when we get to C sharp. Then there's this run. And that's also harmonized by the other guitar. So after that, we're doing this kind of arpeggio, and it's kind of moving down the scale a little bit, so like it's ending on. But then the other parts are kind of the same. So yeah, so on the verse riff, instead of just doing a bar chord, and actually we probably sometimes do the bar chord and don't do this crazy chord, but it's supposed to be this stretchy chord. So then that goes, you know, 5th string, 1st fret, 4th string, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd string. So it's like. Cool sound if you can get it right. So that's what we're doing. So the picking part, like over the wall, I mean, I'm always going to refer to that because it's a chugging thing, but it reminds me of like a drum roll. You know, it's like a bop. So the right hand's always, it's like the drums, you know. So and then there's chords kind of answering it. So I guess if it was a AI doing it or something, it would be more. So I kind of emphasize on the first part of it, like, let's go. Even then when I end the chord too, it's like. So, I mean, I guess for my style of what I'm doing, it's like dancing. I mean, you can do the dance moves, and then there's that little extra movement, you know, that makes it kind of sound the way it sounds. So, all right, so putting it all together, we're starting off with an open chord with the C sharp, and then we're doing all these different chord movements and doing some pull-offs, and then, you know, kind of like strumming up. So we're starting off with the open. Oh, and I forgot to mention this part. This kind of separates it. It's a chromatic. We do that a lot in our songs. We're doing the open chord thing, and then we're doing the chromatic. Da, 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 da. Then we start moving around with the chords. And that's kind of the voicing of it, like da 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 da. That's kind of the melody of it. Now the don don don, that's letting you know that here comes the arpeggio end of note going down the scale. Good thing we're not recording a record right now. But you get the idea. All right, let's break it down. This is the Preacher at full speed. All right, let's try the Preacher at half speed or a little bit slower. All right, so here we are. This is the third record from Testament. This is Practice What You Preach. Yeah, this is like year after year. So the first record was 87, New Order was 88, now we're in 89. Kind of proved our point to everybody. Now I think this is the first campaign that we actually are gonna headline now. Yeah, so this we're gonna go over the title track. Here it is at full speed. When it goes into the verse, it does less of the, and it goes more into like. So now we are going to bring it down half speed. This is Practice What You Preach, a little bit slower. It starts off with. Then here's that chromatic thing I was talking about we always do. Then from there, it goes into this single note stuff. Back to the open E. Now the first guitar comes in by itself with the drums, which builds up more momentum. So I come in. Second guitar. Then everybody joins in on the punches. Then we're all in. So on the verse, we're not doing any speed picking. It's more of just kind of like halftime. And then we're taking some bar chords and we're moving them back and forth, kind of sliding them. So we're kind of like sliding it this way and then sliding it that way. So it's like... When I'm doing the chord progression, going back and forth, I'm not going... kind of going... And that kind of gives it its sound. There's a little lick in between there. Kind of like a pull off. So the little lick in between, we do a lot of stuff like that, and it's something that you really don't think about. It sounds cool, because if it wasn't there, it'd be like... It's cool to have a little... whatever, you know. So this one in particular, so it goes open, that's like a hammer-on. Then you do like a pull-off on the 5th string. And you could do it, you know, all open. It's an open string. And then I'm palm muting these 2 notes. And then pull off on the 5th string. And then muting again. Well, I just taught myself something. We're talking about the verse pattern. So we're doing this kind of downstroke. Then we're moving these chords around and we're kind of like sliding in and out. Back to the picking, downstroke. There's a little lick in between there where it's like open string, pull off with some muting. It's all together. One thing I want to point out when I play it up to speed. So a lot of times what I'll do is, especially when I'm doing the kind of chord thing where I'm doing the slide thing, sometimes I throw in an octave. This kind of gives it more of a different sound, but I think that's more of a preference thing, you know, like how I'm feeling, like whatever. So now we are going to bring it down half speed. This is Practice What You Preach, a little bit slower. All right, so here it is, sped up. All right, so the next one I'm gonna do is Off Practice What You Preach. And this was a very popular song for us. I think it was our first ballad. Not that we written, that we recorded. This one is called The Ballad. So I'm gonna do the intro and then the verse. Here it goes. So yeah, we're just using these 3 notes. And then we're gonna go to an E diminish. And we're gonna slide on the G string to a E major. Okay, so all together that's. Okay, so there's these little notes here. So that's like a little melodic part that goes with it. So it's in between the chords. So it's like. So, I don't know what that is. That would be like a bar chord, like on the first 2 strings, I think. But anyway, that's what you do. All right, so we're on the ballad right now, and we're gonna take it from the verse part. So we're going from E to B, and then we're sliding up to D, back to B, then to D. And we're kind of messing around with these notes here. Then to A, C, then G. So all together, it's like. Here it is one more time. gonna do something a little bit different here. So we're going through all of the popular Testament songs on the catalog. I wanted to play this one. This one's called 7 Days in May from Souls of Black. This is one of the band's favorites, but we never played it live. I think we did when the record came out, but it's a riff-a-rama. So this is a little bit more extra, riffing stuff, but it's one of my favorites. All right, let's break that down and play it a little bit slower. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. So the beginning of the song, it's got some palm muting and bar chords. And to me, it's more of like copying the drums. So, the drums would be going like, so kind of mimicking the drums a little bit. It's going from D to A to G sharp. So those two are muted. Then it's going from D to E in an octave. So after. Then it goes to the tom kind of. Now that part is a bar chord which goes from F sharp to G. Then it goes to the riff. It's kind of like a little pull off there. So we're going from E to F to D, and then pulling off and going to A sharp. It's all hammer-ons. Back to the chug. Then that same lick, but with octaves. Then we're going to go down this way. We're going to go from A sharp to A to G to F. Then we're going to do a pull-up here. Then what I'm doing here is I'm going G to E, like. Then here we're doing a major. I think it's a triad. So it's like a F to E, like a triad scale. So again, same thing. And Now on the octave part, I'm just hitting it once and kind of letting my hand slide around doing the note. So like, so before we go to the verse, after the whole, now it's going to go to the verse, and that's going to go between E and C sharp, and I'm doing bar chords with the triad type of chord, and then it's doing a pull off. So it goes. Back to the beginning, just to throw that in. So on the verse riff, what I'm doing is I'm chugging. In between that, I'm going. Now, in between that, there's these little pull-offs. All right, let's break that down and play it a little bit slower. So all together, let's do that again. So here's at full speed. Okay, so after Souls of Black, I think the original lineup was starting to get burnt out a little bit. We slowed down a little bit. I think we wanted to do something a little bit more hard rock, still, you know, still metal, but more not, I don't think there's really any thrash on that record. So, but anyway, I would like to play and do the song Electric Crown, which we still do in the set. All right, so here it is at half speed. This is Electric Crown. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. We'll start with the intro riff, which is also the chorus. So what's happening here is there's some bar chords going on, and it's the same thing over and over, but it does it 3 times. And in between each one, the chord progression changes a little bit. So it goes from A to B. Then the next one goes from B to D. Then the next one goes from D to B. And in between those is the chord thing. So it keeps building up. Which brings us into the verse riff and the riff. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So that riff is starting on F sharp. And in between you're pedaling, so this is always the root. And it's going from A to B to C. Then we're going from F sharp to G, so it goes. So it's always pedaling here. Then there's that, which is kind of like is a resolve. It resolves back to. So the verse riff, it's on F sharp, and it's always downstroking. And then in between that, you got A to B, and F sharp to G, and it's kind of like a slide from F sharp to G. Back to F sharp. And then there's this little thing that resolves it, and it starts over again on the E string. You're doing like a chug, single note, E to F sharp to G. I got one thing to say about this too. It's mind-boggling, but like the beginning, and I think another part, I think during the solo. So on the chorus, I think it's in 4, but in the beginning, it's 5. And until Alex told me that, I think I messed up once, and he goes, you know, and I was like, what? It was a song that just I always messed up on because it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the chorus goes. It's in 4. As I wonder. So it's like one off. I mean, you don't even notice it, but It's so weird. All right, so here it is at half speed. This is Electric Crown. All right, so let's try the whole thing at full speed, and here it is again, Electric Crown. All right, let's move on to Demonic. So Demonic is our 666 special record. So yeah, let's get to the music. So the title track, Demonic Refusal, where the record was in C sharp. I'm only gonna play the verse riff just to show the difference of what we could do, something different. And it's not so, this is not like a melodic guitar kind of thing. It's more like a drone. And the drums don't change. It's just really it's almost like orcs are coming to your town or something. It's just very drone sounding. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's break this down. Here's Demonic slow. Going to start off with open E, going to, well, that's C sharp, but we're going to say E. So it's going to go from E to A sharp to C sharp, and then from C sharp, it's going to go back to E. And these are open chord things. Behind it is this wang bar stuff, just really evil kind of sounding with the drums kind of like a do, 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 do kind of thing. But anyway, so here's the guitar. Now we're going to go to this weird sounding chord, which is a diminish, flat 5, They don't match, but it's wrong. But it's kind of evil sounding, I guess. And Chuck's voice, I mean, he's singing, you know, like so guttural and just like, you take my hand and sympathize. Okay, so on this riff, I just went down a half step and it just seemed to work. I wanted it to sound wrong, but not out of tune wrong, but it's like, it kind of it's like a dog. They're like, what? It's like, all right, so here it is, one more time. This is demonic. We're now gonna look at the record, The Gathering. It was kind of like a big comeback after all the stuff that we went through with, you know, member changes and whatnot. But we came back with this record and we had a pretty solid lineup. This song is called D.N.R. and here it is at full speed. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the intro, which also lends itself to a pre-chorus, I think, and later in the song, and then the main riff. So I'll play the intro and the main riff. I'm gonna do a slower version of D.N.R, but in the beginning, I'm just gonna do the chord progression because I don't know if I could actually pick it like that. So, but I'll show you the chords. That's probably more important. The idea was it was going to start off with the timpani, so it's like a, you know, like building up like. So that's what this is kind of representing, like the timpani drums. The picking of it, you want to get heavy, you don't want to get heavy. It's just kind of like you're just kind of, you know, like a timpani. That's the idea of it. So with that in mind, it's like. Okay, so the chord progression is in C sharp, you know, E, C sharp, and then it goes to F sharp as a minor. Now in between those, I'm kind of moving my fingers around just really quickly to get like a melody. So into like a triad. Okay, now we're going to the main riff, and that's basically kind of like a lot of other stuff that I've done. You know, it's between the E, picking on the E, and then pulling off on the 5th string between the E and the D. Now that chord is A sharp, but instead of doing the chord, I'm just doing that part of it. So it's then going to the chord, A sharp to G. And that's kind of like a pull off, but I'm still picking it instead of going. It's a hammer on, but I'm still picking it. Then the next part is the chorus, and that is that's another third chord. It's going from E to F to D, back to E to D, and then to G in the 3rd chord. So that's. Then back to the regular bar chords. You're going to F to D. I think if you just pick real fast, you can kind of get lost. But if you picture it as a timpani, you know, it kind of helps with staying fast. So all together again. Do a song called Rise Up off a record called Dark Roots of Earth. So here is the first couple of riffs of Rise Up. Okay, here's a slow version of Rise Up. All right, so let's break this riff down. So the beginning, we're doing some pedaling picking, some fast picking. And in between that is some sliding. So we're going from A sharp to A, G to A, and then we're doing some power chords, doing a chromatic thing, going from G, F sharp to F. Then we're going to go from A sharp to G to A sharp. So all together. Now after that, it goes to like this melodic kind of breakdown riff. All the melodic part is going to be on the 5th string, and it's going to be galloping on the E string back and forth. So it's going to be going. Second one goes. Third one goes. And that is on the 8th fret on the 5th and 4th string. Then it goes, and then it resolves back to the chords. It's all together. So regarding this last part, the notey stuff, it's kind of like, the way I see it is there's like a question and then an answer. So it kind of like, it starts off and it's like, well, why? And then all of a sudden it resolves into something else with answers why, the dun, 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 and then dun, 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 dun. That's a weird way of putting it, but it all makes sense when you look at it like that. The next part, it goes back to the intro, but it adds in this other part. So let me play everything at full speed again, and it starts with the intro, the riff, and then the riff again. That's altered a little bit. So here we go, rise up. All right, so this has been a long lesson, lots of riffs, lots of stuff we've gone through. I hope that you can get something out of this and that you stuck with it the whole time. I've had a lot of fun here and going down memory lane and just slowing riff downs and playing them. I've actually learned maybe how to replay some of my riffs, especially when you slow them down. But anyway, I hope you took it all in and you can do something with it yourself, and thank you for watching.